Welcome to the Great Basin Prescribed Fire Smoke Transport Briefing for Wednesday, October 19th. Over the last 2 to 4 weeks, we've seen very little precipitation. Last 2 weeks have been dry across most of the Great Basin, and even the last 30 days, we've seen very dry conditions over much of southern and eastern Nevada, up into southwest and parts of central Idaho. Also into western Utah has been very dry. Currently, our ERCs have climbed to well above normal and in many areas near or above record highs for the time of year. Up in Idaho, we are seeing these ERCs climb above records, still somewhat low for the time of year, certainly well below the 80th or 90th percentile, but still have been climbing. We will see a weather change coming to knock these ERCs down, but for the next couple of days, we will see these high ERCs remain. Even over western and northern Nevada into northern Utah, we are seeing these ERCs climb to near records. The satellite loop from this morning shows still a strong ridge of high pressure dominating much of the west, keeping clear skies and above normal temperatures across the Great Basin. There is a weak area of low pressure off the California coast, but it's a cold front dropping down from the north this weekend that will make the most significant change. So for today, again, continued warm and dry conditions across the Great Basin with significant fire potential, still relatively low, but obviously many areas in the yellow with these continued dry conditions over the last couple of weeks over the northern and western two-thirds of the Great Basin. Relative humidity will remain into the single digits or teens across much of the Great Basin this afternoon with generally light winds. As we move into Thursday, we will start to see that area of low pressure drop south, so winds will pick up a little bit in the north, but still warm and dry across the Great Basin with low fire potential. Relative humidity doesn't change a whole lot. Winds will start picking up across Idaho and Wyoming, but most of the gusts will remain in the low to mid-20s. As we move into Friday, this is where we'll start to see a little bit of a change, especially with the winds across the northern areas. We will see clouds move in along with winds increasing across Idaho and Wyoming. Still, much of the moisture will remain to the north until more likely Friday night into Saturday. Looking at the relative humidity, we will see some relative humidity increase late in the day on Friday across Idaho. So we will see those relative humidities above 20 or 25% along with increasing winds. Much of the gusts on Friday will increase into the low 30s. We could see some gusts peak above 40 miles per hour over parts of western Wyoming into Idaho. We'll also see these breezy winds dip down south into northern Nevada and northern Utah, but these gusts generally be in the 20s to between about 30 and 35 miles per hour at the highest. With these still dry conditions, certainly in the grasses or even in some of the dried brush, if we do get a start with the increase in winds on Friday, it could run for a burning period until the winds diminish. We will see much colder temperatures, however, heading into the weekend with the change in weather pattern. So temperatures will drop between 20 and 25 degrees or more between today and going into the weekend into Sunday. Sunday looks to be the coldest day where highs might not get out of the 40s across much of the northern half of the Great Basin. Looking at the 3-day forecast amount of precipitation taking us through Saturday morning, so late Friday into Saturday, we will start to see the precipitation increase over the northern portion of the Great Basin in Idaho. But the rest of the Great Basin will likely remain dry until Saturday, which is when that cold front really pushes south. So the more significant temperature change will begin Saturday, along with moisture pushing south all the way into parts of central Utah into eastern and northern Nevada, as well as continuing across Idaho. Snow levels will be dropping. It could drop to as low as 5,000 feet or lower in some areas, especially up north. So certainly some new snowfall is expected, along with an increase in rain showers. Significant fire potential will drop significantly going into Saturday. On Sunday, the cold air remains in place across much of the Great Basin. The moisture will be pushing off to the east, but we will still see some lingering showers across Idaho, Wyoming, northern Utah, and possibly even northeast Nevada, along with breezy northwest winds behind the front. Still, fire potential will remain low with the moisture and cold temperatures moving in. On Monday, still that northwest flow continues across Idaho. We could see some clouds, maybe a few lingering showers. And then by Tuesday, we will start to see the ridge start to build across the west. But again, certainly not temperatures as warm as what we have been seeing, but at least a little bit drier from the weekend precipitation. Forecast amounts of precipitation are shown here. You can see the heaviest amounts of precipitation from the cold front this weekend will be across the higher terrain of Idaho, Wyoming, and down into the mountains of Utah. We will still see some good amounts of either wetting rains or new snowfall across southwest Idaho into much of northern Nevada. And also, even along the Sierra, we could see some new precipitation, obviously, be a mix of rain and snow that far west. The 8 to 14-day outlook, taking us from October 26th through November 1st, shows cooler and wetter conditions for the west, so this is the beginning of a pattern change, certainly coming into the west coast. That concludes our webcast for today. The next webcast will be issued next Monday, so check back for the latest updates.